So your arm is kind of tingling, so you decide to go to the doctor's, and you sit down with the doctor and explain, yeah, my right arm, it just kind of tingles weird sometimes. And he's like, oh, well, I'm afraid that's tinglitis. We're gonna have to go in and do. I mean, we got to remove the Dumaflac that's causing all of this. And you're like, wow, wow, I didn't realize it was so serious. So, wow, so this is like surgery. It's like, oh yeah, but it's outpatient. Don't worry. And you're like, well, how many times have you done this surgery? And he's like, well, actually, I haven't, but I know I totally can because I saw a video on it, and it was, I mean, the explanation was great. I totally get it, and I'm ready to go. So, how about you? And it's like, how about no on that whole situation? But you get the point, right? When you're studying for Cisco, I mean, going through the CBT Nugget series is huge. You now have the information that you need to be successful at CCNA as well as a career in Cisco. But until you actually do it, there's always going to be that little gap between knowing it and doing it. So let me hit this first question head on. Why build a lab? Doesn't GNS3 work just fine? GNS3 being the Cisco emulator runs the real iOS, so you can type in all the commands. It is a phenomenal product, GNS3. We even have a full series on it at CBT Nuggets because it's that popular. But I've been where you are. I've been at the point where, I'm just getting into CCNA. I haven't really seen that much Cisco equipment. I haven't been in that many networks before to where I've seen it all, done it all, kind of feel behind it. And if I were given an emulator, I know I would have just been like, just kind of drag some routers. I'm like, like it just wouldn't have been real to me. I guess the best way I can explain it just popped in my head. Have you ever played paintball before? Where you're running around and you shoot the guns and you get hit with the paintballs. Well, paintball, it's kind of like you don't want to get hit because it's going to leave a mark. I mean, you're like diving behind rocks because if you get shot, it really hurts. Well, compare that to laser tag. If you've ever done paintball and then you go do laser tag, lame. And you just wear this vest and people like point these little laser guns at you. It's like, hello, there's no fear. You're not running. You're just like, oh, you hit me for the 80th time. Oh well, that it's all funny. So that's kind of like GNS3, at least when you start off. I'm not talking for once you've had a lot of experience and just want to start using this as a kind of a virtual lab. But when you start off, it's kind of like laser tag, where it's like, it's just kind of frilly. Like, oh well, so build a lab. That just trust me on this. If I could go on, but I don't want to bore you with all my reasons why. Build a lab. So next recommendation, Cisco Shopper, what's my budget? Once you get into building a lab, it is addictive. I mean, to where I've actually had students that I'm like, hey, go build a lab, and they come back, they show me pictures of, I mean, literally thousands of dollars they spend building this enterprise-sized network. I'm like, oh my word, that's not what I meant. I would say the budget for a CCNA lab, if you're really, really savvy, $50. Maybe if you just want to get some stuff quicker and maybe you want some nicer stuff, around $200. I don't think you should go much more than that because I would say you're probably overbuying. Or if you do, maybe you're just doing it for fun to kind of build a collection of equipment. So know your budget because it is addictive because you'll find some great deals on eBay for this equipment. So now let me give you my equipment recommendations. Now keep in mind, when I put this list together, I did so with budget as my primary concern. So this is being as cost conscious as I can. My number one recommendation, and it has been for, I would say probably 5-6 years, is this little Cisco 871W router. Now first off, let me also mention, I kind of have my single router. This is the ultimate budget department where I'm like, if all you can afford is one router, grab one of these guys. Just grab one from eBay to use. Now, over on the right-hand side, I say, okay, well, if we've got a little larger budget, let me explain how to build a mini lab for this CCNA. So if you can only buy one router, I would say go for the Cisco 871. The reason why I love this router is, number one, it's small. I know a lot of you will be running this in your house. Getting one of these routers is great, but you got the fan noise. It's going to go woo, and you're going to be anxious to turn that thing off as fast as you can. This is small. It's completely silent, and it has the full iOS. It actually has a built-in switch, so you can learn a little bit about VLANs, a little bit about switching, because you can do VLANs on this guy. You even have, if you go with there's an 871 and there's an 871W. W is the wireless version. So if you want to learn a little bit about doing Wi-Fi, even though the configuration of Wi-Fi is not part of the CCNA, you can just by doing this. So I look at this guy, I'm like, man, what a great little total all-in-one box to where I can do NAT, I can do my access list, I can do VLANs, I can do, it's a little, I think it's a little 4-port switch that they have in there. I can do wireless. I mean, it's everything. I love it. So next one down, if that one's not an option, go for, and by the way, this I would probably say is probably going to be the most expensive one out of the list. I haven't even checked prices. Check eBay, please. I'm maybe $50, 40. It's not crazy expensive, just more than these. I mean, these I'm guessing you can grab for $20 or so. Cisco 1721. Again, my main focus with this guy is it's small and it's quiet. My goal for you when you build this home lab is that you route your internet connection over it. And if you get one of these real beefy routers, these are the full rack mount routers right here, you always have the fan in the background, and you're gonna be like, I'm ready to turn that thing off, and because I know I've run a lab in my house for a long time. So this one is completely silent. You will have to. The warning I'll give you is it only comes with one fast Ethernet card. So you'll have to buy. They actually make I think it's WIC one ENET. I think is the model number, and that'll add the second Ethernet interface. But all these are great, and the extra benefit of these is it's modular. This one, the one shortcoming that I will say on the 871 is it does not have serial ports, and you can't add them. It's not meant for serial connections, whereas when you get over here, this guy does support serial interfaces, so you can do your frame relay testing, you can do point-to-point WAN links, all of those kind of things can be done. And then, of course, down at the bottom, 2611, 2621. Reason I chose those model numbers is 11 is 10 megabit per second dual Ethernet ports. This one is 100 megabit per second dual Ethernet ports. Again, the dual Ethernet, that's these guys, 1, 2, are used to route your internet connection. One outside interface and one inside interface. So if you only can get one router, those are the ones to get. Now on the right-hand side, I've got the mini lab. If I were putting this together like a fast food order, I would say grab 2 of these and 2 of these right there. That's your mini lab. This guy down at the bottom, the 3550, is just the most amazing switch because it's dropped in price significantly. It's 100 megabits per second, which I mean that's why everything's going gigabit and everybody's like, oh, we don't want 100 meg anymore. So you can get these pretty cheap. The big thing about it is it's a layer 3 switch. So this one will take you to the CCNA and beyond as you start getting into the CCNP layer 3 switching and doing a lot of stuff there. So if you can grab one of those, then replace one of these with, so grab one of these and one of these. If you can, if budget's an option, grab just 2 of these instead. They also have power over Ethernet models where you can power IP phones if you want to get into voice over IP or power wireless access points. By getting 2 of these, then you can start doing a lot of the redundancy protocols like HSRP, VRRP, GLBP, and setting them up to where you've got kind of a layer 3 switched environment. I'm getting into CCNP. I'm not going to do that. But okay, so budget conscious, 2 of these, 2 of these. Then you got your serial interfaces, and I've kind of got the bonus equipment down here. The beauty of using 2 of these is they got 100 meg ports. You can do your VLANs, you can do your trunking, all of that happening between those 2 switches. And these have 100 meg Ethernet ports. You want to grab at least one 2621 because these are 10 megabit per second. That'll let you set up like a router on a stick so you can route between VLANs. You also want to grab a console cable. Most of these, if you get them online, will come with one. Watch out, people on eBay are ferocious and they'll try and sell you a console cable for like $20. I mean, don't just say when you buy one of these, ask the seller. A lot of times they'll be business. Hey, can you throw a console cable in? Most of the time they'll throw in a couple for you. So console cable, grab Ethernet cables. By the best place to go for Ethernet cables, I don't know if I've shown this to you yet, is Monoprice. Shrink. Monoprice.com. Now I'm saying the best. I'm sure there's other places to get them, but this place just has really, really good priced networking, and they're in California, which is right next to me, so they do overnight shipping for nothing. But I mean, if you go to like Fry's Electronics or Best Buy to get like let's scroll down here to like a 3-foot cable, they're going to charge you $7 for the package and all. Come on. Get it for $1. So Monoprice, great place for that. By the way, Monoprice also sells. Let me see if I can find it. Back up. Cisco cereal. This way, great. They have Cisco. That's not what I was looking for. They're like serial ATA. It's on there somewhere. It's on there. Trust me. So they actually sell Cisco serial cables there that you can use. DB60, I believe, is the model that you're looking for. 60-pin serial cables that you can use for back-to-back serial connections between your two routers. That's where you can emulate your frame relay or your point-to-point WAN link and all that. The last thing I'll say is a lab guide. Look around. Just see if people have created any kind of lab guide, and you might follow their equipment recommendations. The reason I say this is because you can set up a lot in your house. You can route your internet connections, use access lists, and so on. But after so long, you kind of run out of ideas. And then these things just sit on the shelf, and every now and then you're like, oh, I got to study, and you power it on, you change a host name, set the enable secret, and you're like, now what do I do? So having a lab guide is great because it gives you objectives. They're like, hey, accomplish this, go after. I mean, not a step by step. I don't like the step like go type this, type this. You don't learn anything that way. But just something to give you missions and goals to accomplish. I actually created a series, part of CBT Nuggets. If you got this subscription, you might check it out, called CCNA for the Real World. I created a whole bunch of labs in there that you might want to try out and use yourself. In there as well. I'm also my mind is always going to what else can I do? I wonder if I can create like a lab guide that I give people. I don't know. We'll see. But check out CCNA for the Real World. I've got some labs in there for you to try out. The last thing I want to cover is a question I get all the time. People start going on eBay and shopping for equipment, and they say, okay, well, I see on there some people are selling a CCNA lab kit where they give me all the routers and the switches together. Matter of fact, I just went to eBay and just typed in CCNA lab real quick just to see. And this is what I'm talking about. They'll ship you like 3 routers, 3 switches for $600, or in this case, 3 routers, 3 for $400. I mean, so you kind of go down this list and you start seeing all these different things. So should I buy one of these CCNA lab kits? Or should I just buy the routers you recommended individually? Well, it all goes back to cost. Cost versus hassle. You're going to get it a lot cheaper if you buy the devices individually. What these CCNA lab kit people do is just people that go out and buy all the things. They assemble it, take a nice pretty picture. They say, buy it right here, right now, all together. The benefit that you get from that is, number one, you don't have the hassle of dealing with all these different sellers and did I get my equipment on time and all that kind of stuff. You got one place to go back to. Second, sometimes you can get a pretty sweet deal where they're saying, okay, well, I'll include a lab guide and all the equipment that you need for that lab. So again, it sets you up for a little more success, but you're going to pay more for that kind of thing. If it were me, I would go out and buy the devices individually because I'm a cheapskate. I like getting the best deal. I like when I'm like, sweet, a switch for $20, buy it now. That it gives me that warm, fuzzy satisfaction, like I just got a great deal. So that being said, that's my advice on those two things. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.